Here's the famous celebrity moments that shut down woke culture completely.
Black History Month, you find
Ridiculous.
why?
You're gonna relegate my history to a month?
What's so interesting that you come across like a nice guy, but you're really a piece of shit.
Hey,
With that
come on,
comment.
come on.
No, that was a piece of you. That was a piece of shit.
Who you wound up supporting in the election, presidential election?
None of your business.
What occurs when famous individuals, wielding keen humor and unwavering self-assurance, decline to be trapped by interviewers with specific agendas? Let's explore a few memorable experiences. Tom Cruise, an iconic figure in Hollywood, once sat composed in an interview, anticipating a serious conversation.
Love Nick very much. There's no question.
Would you like Nicole to remarry?
Yes. I want Nicole to be happy. That's what I want.
And do you have a relationship where you talk, it's a parenting relationship, and talk professionally about each other's
Why
work?
don't we, listen, here's the thing, Peter.
Yeah.
You're stepping over a line now. You're stepping over a line, you know you are.
Instead, the interviewer intruded, digging into his private life. How did Cruise respond? A calm yet assertive,
Here's the thing, Peter.
Yeah.
You're stepping over a line now. You're stepping over a line, you know you are.
I suppose they're questions though
Peter.
that people want to know.
Peter, you want to know. Take
And-
responsibility for what you want to know. Don't say what other people. This is a conversation that I'm having with you right now.
You're right.
Okay, so I'm just telling you right now, okay? Just put your manners back in.
Do you think I was out of line?
Yes, absolutely.
you're stepping over a line now, Peter. The atmosphere in the room was thick with tension. When provoked excessively, even the most prominent Hollywood celebrities set their limits, and the ensuing events are nothing less than iconic. However, Cruise is not by itself. Throughout the years, numerous celebrities have confronted woke interviewers who arrived with a specific agenda. How did they keep their calm or entirely change the narrative when confronted with provocative questions? Let's discover. Certain interviewers are not interested in genuine discussions. They are searching for viral incidents. Rather than allowing celebrities to express their own views, they pose provocative questions, seeking to entangle them in scandal. However, not every celebrity falls for the lure. Consider Jerry Seinfeld, for example. When an interviewer attempted to confront him about an alleged lack of diversity on his show, he remained unfazed.
Oh, this really pisses me off. But go ahead. Really pisses me off. People think it's the census or something. I mean, this has got to represent the actual pie chart of America. Who cares? It's just funny. You know, funny is the world that I live in. You're funny, I'm interested. You're not funny, I'm not interested.
Instead, using his characteristic straightforward humor, he responded, "Funny is funny. I don't care about race or gender." In that brief instance, Seinfeld shattered the contrived storyline, highlighting that comedy should focus on laughter, not metrics. Then there's Morgan Freeman, who adopted an even more daring strategy.
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it.
When questioned about how to fix racism, he provided a mic drop response in just a few words. "How are we going to get rid of racism? Stop talking about it." The interviewer was left speechless. Freeman did not dispute. He did not clarify. He simply allowed the impact of his words to handle the situation. And that's precisely why these moments impact so deeply. Celebrities who hold their position don't have to yell. They only need to express the truth. Through sharp wit, deadpan humor, or sheer logic, they flip the script, causing interviewers to struggle for a response. When a woke narrative is founded on unstable ground, just one strong counterargument can make it collapse. Tom Cruise expertly wields controlled intensity, both in films and in everyday situations. However, even the most prominent stars in Hollywood have their boundaries. At a press event, a reporter chose to divert from talking about Cruise's new movie and instead delved into his private life, particularly his previous marriage to Nicole Kidman.
Love Nick very much. There's no question.
Would you like Nicole to remarry?
Yes. I want Nicole to be happy. That's what I want.
And do you have a relationship where you talk, it's a parenting relationship, and talk professionally about each other's
Why
work?
don't we, listen, here's the thing, Peter.
Yeah.
You're stepping over a line now. You're stepping over a line, you know you are.
The inquiry was intrusive, disguised as worry, yet aimed at generating news stories. Cruise remained unperturbed. He maintained eye contact with the interviewer, allowed the tension to rise, and then provided a calm yet assertive reply. "You're stepping over a line now."
Here's the thing, Peter.
Yeah.
You're stepping over a line now. You're stepping over a line. You know you are.
I suppose they're questions though,
Peter.
that people want to know.
Peter, you want to know.
The atmosphere in the room changed immediately. The reporter hesitated, attempting to retract, but it was too late as Cruz had already put an end to it. He didn't increase his volume. He didn't react aggressively. Rather, he utilized the force of his presence to convey a message. Respect is gained, not imposed. This wasn't the first occasion when Cruz faced an intrusive interviewer. In a different situation, a journalist believed it would be funny to play a prank on him by spraying water in his face during the interview.
No, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Come here. Why would you do
Cruz maintained his composure. He repeatedly inquired, "Why would you do that?" until the reporter, clearly uncomfortable, was left with no option but to apologize.
No, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Come here. Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Not very funny. Can you please?
No, it's okay. No, wait 1 second. What's so funny about that? It's ridiculous.
Cruz's talent for capturing attention, even amidst overt disrespect, demonstrates why he is much more than a film actor. He's a natural phenomenon who will not conform to the media's guidelines. Mike Tyson was seated opposite the interviewer, looking calm until the discussion shifted direction. The host chose to dwell on Tyson's past, rather than highlighting his achievements, wins, or his impressive comeback. The host arrogantly inquired about Tyson's criminal past, suggesting it eclipsed all his other accomplishments.
Some of your critics would say, you know, there's a race for mayor. We know you're a convicted rapist. This could hurt his campaign. How would you respond to that? So interesting that you come across like a nice guy, but you're really a piece of shit. Hey, with that comment. Come on. That was a piece of fuck you. That was a piece of shit.
Tyson's expression stiffened. His jaw tightened. You could sense the room's temperature decrease. With a measured, purposeful turn of his head, Tyson fixed his gaze on the interviewer and unleashed his anger. "You're a piece of shit. F you." The atmosphere was charged with suspense. The host hesitated, evidently caught off guard by the sheer force of Tyson's reply. And that's the point about Tyson. He's not the person you prod for a response. He doesn't engage in the public relations game. He doesn't soften his statements. The instant gained widespread popularity. Individuals weren't merely astonished, they were applauding. Tyson accomplished what numerous celebrities hope to do by addressing an interviewer's lack of integrity on the spot. No apology sanctioned by the corporation. No repairs managed. Simply pure, unadulterated truth. At times, being polite isn't the solution. At times, when stretched beyond limits, you retaliate strongly. What about Mike Tyson? He simply achieved a knockout without landing a single punch. Matthew McConaughey excels at avoiding political pitfalls. Interviewers have repeatedly attempted to draw him into contentious discussions, anticipating that he would either conform to Hollywood norms or make a provocative statement. However, McConaughey follows his own guidelines. A particularly notable moment occurred when an interviewer pressed him to align himself on the political spectrum, anticipating the typical Hollywood discourse.
Do you think you could get elected in Texas being anti-gun?
Do I think I could get elected in Texas being anti-gun? One thing about if me in politics is to give you a direct statement right there is be playing a game that I'm not interested in playing.
Okay,
to give you a direct statement right there.
McConaughey, embodying his trademark relaxed assurance, just grinned and remarked, "If politics is about playing games, I'm not interested." The space became quiet. The interviewer paused, obviously wishing for a more detailed answer. However, McConaughey wasn't falling for it. He reclined, allowed the silence to stretch, and then laughed. "I'm an actor, not a politician. My job is to entertain, not preach." However, it didn't end there. When pressed more about Hollywood's impact on public opinion, McConaughey shrugged and remarked, "I think people should think for themselves. If you're looking to actors for political advice, you might be in trouble." The strength of his response lay in its simplicity. No showboating, no moral posturing, just a smooth diversion that halted the discussion before it could intensify. While many other celebrities rush to conform to trends, McConaughey stands out as one of the few who will not be confined. What is his philosophy? Express yourself when it counts, disregard the distractions, and remain authentic. Simple, elegant, unrepentant. Quentin Tarantino has always been unafraid of controversy. His movies are boldly violent, and he offers no justifications for them. However, that hasn't prevented some interviewers from attempting to constrain him. A particularly notorious incident occurred during a press interview for Django Unchained. A reporter forcefully questioned him, implying that Tarantino's movies fostered violence in the real world.
This is a, person with a great deal of acting talent, and yet you haven't really given her many lines in the movie.
Well, I just reject your hypotheses.
Right.
The director, clearly annoyed yet exceptionally sharp, didn't hesitate to respond. I refuse your question. I'm not your slave. I don't have to explain why I like making violent movies. The atmosphere in the room grew tense. The interviewer, flustered, maintained it was a legitimate conversation. Tarantino, undeterred, moved closer and struck the decisive blow. I've been asked this for decades. I'm shutting your butt down. The energy changed immediately. The journalist anticipated Tarantino to falter, to justify himself, to go along with it. Rather, he received a masterclass in resistance. The instant gained widespread attention. Some referred to Tarantino as arrogant and confrontational. Others recognized it for what it truly was: a filmmaker unwilling to allow media narratives to control his art. And here's the reality. Tarantino wasn't causing any trouble. He was advocating for artistic liberty, an aspect he has never been prepared to negotiate. Similar to his films, his reply was daring, raw, and impossible to overlook. No regrets, simply a mic drop that had everyone buzzing. Jerry Seinfeld has always been one to embrace controversy. Renowned for his keen humor and straightforward approach, he has dedicated years to amusing audiences without bowing to trends or political correctness. When an interviewer tried to trap him with a pointed question concerning the absence of diversity in his programs, Seinfeld promptly dismissed it.
Oh, this really pisses me off. But go ahead. It really pisses me off. People think it's the census or something. I mean, this has got to represent the actual pie chart of America. Who cares?
It's anti-comedy to calculate diversity instead of focusing on what's funny. His reply wasn't merely a rejection, it was a commentary on comedy itself. For Seinfeld, comedy isn't about fulfilling requirements or adhering to quotas.
It's just funny, funny is the world that I live in. You're funny, I'm interested. You're not funny, I'm not interested. Okay. And I have no interest in gender or race or anything like that, but everyone else is kind of with their little calculating, is this the exact right mix? I think that's, to me, it's anti-comedy.
It's all about what causes laughter in people. Straightforward and easy. However, the interviewer persisted, probing him more about his sense of duty to represent various groups. Seinfeld, undeterred, leaned closer and reaffirmed his position.
Oh, this really pisses me off. But go ahead. It really pisses me off. People think it's the census or something. I mean, this has got to represent the actual pie chart of America. Who cares? It's just funny. Funny is the world that I live in. You're funny, I'm interested. You're not funny, I'm not interested. Okay. And I have no interest in gender or race or anything like that, but everyone else is kind of with their little calculating, is this the exact right mix? I think that's, to me, it's anti-comedy.
Funny doesn't have a race or gender, it's either funny or it isn't. In doing so, he revealed the defect in the question itself. The notion that comedy must be shaped by a specific agenda instead of genuine humor contradicts the very essence of what comedy represents. Next, in true Seinfeld style, he delivered a final strike. People act like comedy needs a diversity checklist. Well, where's the checklist for funny? Shouldn't that be the only thing that matters? And just like that, Seinfeld showcased his talent by delivering an impeccable punchline, demonstrating that outstanding comedians don't adhere to trends. They positioned them. One of the most memorable moments in interview history may have come from Morgan Freeman, a figure whose voice alone demands respect. In a face-to-face interview, he was questioned about his views on Black History Month, a frequent query aimed at directing the dialogue toward racial matters. However, Freeman wasn't accepting it.
Black History Month, you find
ridiculous.
Why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Rather than conforming to the anticipated storyline, he calmly leaned in, gazed directly into the interviewer's eyes, and offered an answer that was both straightforward and immensely impactful, leaving everyone in the room speechless.
I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man. And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman.
Stop calling me a black man, and I'll stop calling you a white man. Bang. In an instant, the atmosphere in the room changed. The interviewer, obviously taken by surprise, struggled to find a reply. He attempted to redirect the discussion, prompting Freeman to explain his position. However, Freeman had no need to. He had already expressed all that needed to be expressed. No classes. Avoid excessive elaboration. Simply genuine, straightforward reality. What is his message? The greater the division we create by race, the more we encourage separation. And he had no intention of participating in that game. Subsequently, in classic Freeman style, he struck the decisive blow. When inquired about combating racism, he kept it straightforward. Stop talking about it.
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man. And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman.
That instant wasn't merely a reply, it was a mic drop that resonated globally. Even today, it stands as one of the most memorable dismantling of coerced stories ever recorded on film. These instances uncover a fundamental truth that genuine expression and self-assurance will consistently triumph over prejudiced stories. Celebrities who won't be boxed in not only protect themselves, but also reveal the interviewer's motives for what they truly are. What gives these replies such strength? It's not only the words they use, but the manner in which they express them. Some opt for humor, others employ keen reasoning, while a handful prefer direct conflict. However, the message remains consistent. Respect is gained, not demanded. Ultimately, these interviews highlight that holding steadfast to your convictions without fear will consistently triumph over prepared narratives. These were only a handful of instances of celebrities changing the narrative, but many more exist. Which moment impressed you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this analysis enjoyable, make sure to like, subscribe, and press that notification bell so you won't miss any incredible takedowns. Catch you in the next one.